What's up, guys? Jason up New Age Revolution down here in the cave for the third video of the weekend. This concludes my weekend contributions to your lives via YouTube. I promised you 3 shows. You're getting 3 shows. Tonight, we wrap up the long weekend. We wrap up a long day of Dave and Buster's with the children, where $200 feels like $15. It goes like that. But Dave & Buster's, I will say, hands down, has the best prizes of these silly, token board, token video game places. Anyway, whatever. I'm exhausted. All right, so tonight we talk about memories. Memories of the LJN WWF Wrestling Superstars figures. This is part 3. Tonight we conclude the discussion on where, when, and how I got these figures. The first video we talked about the first 2. Second video we talked about Christmas '85, where we basically got at least 6 more, getting us to 8 out of 9, possibly 9 out of 9. I almost feel that, like, Stud did not come for a while. I don't know. I can't remember entirely. But tonight we wrap it up where I just go through, I really just wrote down all of my memories of when I got these things. So after Christmas of '85, I would say that I had 8 or 9 figures. Now, did I get a random figure on a random Wednesday afternoon after a random parent went to random store? Possibly. Possibly. But I don't remember. The next time I remember getting figures was my birthday of 1986. And that is when I got a bunch of figures while camping. For some reason, and I don't remember us being big-time campers, but after the great divorce of '85, my mom was getting friendly with a guy who had a camper. And so we went camping. And I remember having my birthday at camp. And I know for sure that I got Paul Orndorff, Greg Valentine, and Brutus Beefcake May of 1986. Did I get others? Did I get Ljn Steel? Possibly. Possibly. But all I remember getting for sure on that 10th birthday, 1986, at a campground somewhere in upstate New York, Greg Valentine, Brutus Beefcake, Paul Orndorff. I do remember, however, a very funny story. So, in 1986, you and your 2 sisters and whatever other stray camp kids that you met and played with, you could really just stroll the campgrounds by yourselves at 10, 8, and 5 years old. Sure. My mother, I'm sure, was into her 12th peach schnapps freeze pop at the time. So her 3 children, could walk around the campground whenever they wanted and do whatever they wanted. And one of the things that we did was we met a little old lady. And she invited us into her camper. And she had wrestling on. And she had a Jimmy Snuka poster. And then she proceeded to tell the 10-year-old, 8-year-old, and 5-year-old that she really loved Jimmy Snuka, and she even had Jimmy Snuka leopard underwear. I'm not making this up. So, despite the obvious molestation attempt, I didn't see what was going on, and I thought this nice old lady is a real big fan of Jimmy Snuka. She also had a Hulk Hogan Thunderlips doll. That's the first time I ever seen the Hulk Hogan Thunderlips from Rocky. She had it in her camper, part of her lure and baiting of children. But I rushed back to the campground and wanted to give the old lady my Jimmy Snuka LJN. And so I went to my mom and said, since I'm getting all these LJNs for Christmas, I'm going to give crazy old lady this LJN Snuka. And my mom flipped her lid and just shut it right down. No way, no chance. You're not giving an old lady your Jimmy Snuka. don't worry about all the other details. Just be more concerned that I'm going to give her a toy. Don't worry about your children. Okay. So, that is vivid. Swear to God, 100% truth right there, that story. I remember. Now, Christmas of '86 was life-changing. Christmas of '86 was massive. They got the rest. My mother and my grandmother went on a quest and got, I think, everything that was available for LJN Christmas of '86. But they also went with Bendy's, and they also went with AWA. So I got, I think, probably a stove box or a dishwasher box, a gigantic box filled with wrestling figures. I remember Bundy. I remember Captain Lou. I think that's when I got some of the managers. Jimmy Hart, Freddie Blassie, Bobby Heenan, guys like that. Randy Savage, I'm sure, right? They were all in this box. And also in the box were whatever AWA figures I didn't have. I remember exclusively getting the Grudge Match 2-packs. Carlos Colon and Abdullah the Butcher. I remember Stan Hansen and Jerry Blackwell very specifically. And then also in that gigantic box were Bendy's. Christmas Eve, we were allowed to open one present, and I opened what I thought was going to be the LJN ring. Because I think about this time I'd had the ring, maybe broke it, cracked it, I don't know, I was due for another ring. So I opened a box that I thought was the ring. It was actually the Bendy ringing cage. So I got the Bendy ringing cage on Christmas Eve '86, and then a box of joy on Christmas morning '86. And that was huge. That is burned in the brain. When I got them home, I remember setting them up and just stepping back and just looking at this massive pile of wrestlers, right? Because the way I would do it back then is I would set the rings on the floor and then kind of, stand all the guys in the ring. And if there was, not enough room in the ring, I'd put some around the ring. Then I'd put a couple of guys on the top rope. And I did that with the AWAs. I did it with the Bendies. And it just looked like I had a ridiculous amount of wrestlers. And it was just fun to look at. Like, I almost didn't want to play with them. I just wanted to look at them on display. At some point in '86 or late '80, well, it wouldn't have been '85, but at some point in '86, my grandmother found me a Mr. Fuji from a Sears catalog, or just Sears in general. I don't know. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure it came in the mail, and I know it was from Sears. I don't know how that happened, but I got a Mr. Fuji from a Sears somewhere in '86. My grandmother and I had a lovely day out in 1987. She took me to Child World or Circus World, and they didn't have anything. And because my grandma was awesome, it wasn't just like, well, they didn't have anything, let's go home. It was, well, let's hit up Kitty City, let's hit up Toys R Us. We're not going to stop until you get whatever your little heart desires. I think Kitty City was a bust, and then I want to say we get to Toys R Us, or vice versa. Toys R Us was a bust, we get to Kitty City, I don't know. But we come around the aisle, and there are a few figures that I don't have. I remember Terry Funk and Cowboy Bob Orton specifically. Maybe Tito, maybe Bruno, I don't know. I don't know, but I know Terry Funk was at the store that day. He was coming home with me. This is a story that I've told a bunch of times. As I'm walking out of the aisle, I turn the corner, and at the end cap was this beautiful display of the LJN Steel Cage. And I had not seen this before, and I lost my mind in the aisle at Toys R Us. Probably closer to 11 years old. I would say convulsing to some degree. Definitely jumping up and down. Possibly tears of joy. I don't know. And then, like, she couldn't refuse, and so I got it. I want to say that the LJN Steel Cage playset was $6.99. I truly believe it was $6.99. which is just a beautiful price. You know, I know it's 87 or whatever. I know inflation, blah, 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 but $6.99. So I definitely came home with Terry Funk, possibly somebody else, and the LJN Steel Cage that day. And I was sleeping over my grandmother's house that night. So all of my matches that night were in a steel cage, which was just incredible. Because I could put it together myself. That was easy. My dad, at some point in, I want to say, 86, got me Don Morocco from Service Merchandise. Service Merchandise was a catalog order showroom kind of deal that also had stuff for sale in the store. But it was mainly a catalog pickup type of store. Like you'd order it from the catalog and then pick it up at the Service Merchandise. I don't know. But he got me Don Morocco, and that's special because my dad never bought toys. My dad did not care about toys, but I don't know how I convinced him. I don't know how I made it happen, but I got Don Morocco from my dad. Then there's probably the greatest story of all time. Again, I believe somewhere around early 87. My old pal, who's hopefully watching this, but I'll make sure that he knows that it's coming. My old pal Howie and I and my family, my mother and my not yet stepfather at the time, but definitely her boyfriend, went to the mall, and we went to KB. And both of us had $0.00 to our name. So we went into Toys R Us, we went into the action figure aisle, and we looked, you know, as you do, you look straight ahead, and you see nothing. You see Jesse Ventura, already got him, Greg Van, oh, there's Tito, okay, whatever. And then Howie, Howie first. Howie looks down and sees Elizabeth on the bottom of the shelf. The shelves had a bottom too, right? So either stuff was stacked there or stuff would fall off there and it would just land on the bottom. And so he is holding the lovely Elizabeth, and we are both absolutely losing our minds. I don't know why two grown boys, or growing boys anyway, were this excited about the one and only girl doll in the collection. But he's over the moon about it. And I, as a loyal best friend at the time, ripped it out of his hands and sprinted out of the store with it. All right, essentially stealing it. My mother and stepfather person were sitting on like a I don't know. This mall had like weird art and like benches where the parents could just sit and look at art and like, I don't know. So they were sitting on this bench, water fountains and things like that. 80s mall decor. So I sprint out of the store unnoticed. I probably could have gotten away with theft. And I'm begging my mom for Elizabeth. And as my mother usually was the case, had no money. So the boyfriend, the soon-to-be stepfather, in his moment of glory, in his moment of impressing a child, goes deep into the pocket and pulls out a crispy $10 bill and hands it over to me. And I'm like, psh, whatever, and I'm back in the store. And I'm buying Elizabeth right in front of Howie's face. Tears, I'm sure, streaming down his face. Might have been the beginning of the end of our friendship. But, yeah, I got Elizabeth from stepfather, not yet stepfather, at the mall with Howie. Just walked right over him to get it. I'm stepping on everybody. All right. At some point in 88, I'd say, there's a discount bin at Toys R Us, and I'm able to grab for $3.99 or $4.99. I remember One Man Gang, Slick, Kempatera, Billy Jack Haynes, and possibly one other from a $3 or $4 dump bin at Toys R Us. This was the day that my mother's my half-sister was born. So my half-sister was born. My mom was like at my grandmother's with the baby, and for some reason I got taken to Toys R Us and I got a bunch. I got some wrestling figures. Maybe it was because everybody's making a big deal about the baby, and I just couldn't have that. So I got wrestlers on my half sister's date of birth. And from there, it's all kind of fuzzy. I know that I got the Heart Foundation from the Wrestling Ring, the mail order deal there from Wrestling Magazines. That was Christmas '87, where the Heart Foundation and others. Again, I'm sure you know, Harley Race. I just don't remember. I don't remember. I believe that there was probably a decent sized Christmas in '87 with a lot of stuff from the Wrestling Ring, but I remember exclusively the Heart Foundation. I was allowed 2 black card figures in '89 because they were up to $16.99, which was more than double what they were selling for in the stores, right? So in '89, the black cards are $16.99. I'm allowed to choose 2. I choose Haku and Big Boss Man. I do not choose Ultimate Warrior because I'm using Paul Orndorff with face paint as my Ultimate Warrior. And I certainly didn't need another Andre. And Rick Rude just looked horrible. So I went with Boss Man and Haku. And then at some point in time, I got Johnny V for Christmas. I want to say that it was Christmas '89. I want to say it was Christmas '89. I did not get the black cards for Christmas in '89. I don't know when I got them, but it wasn't for Christmas. Christmas '89, I had 1 figure under the tree, and it was a Johnny V that somewhere, somehow, my mother found in '89, and boom, that's it. That's my last figure under the Christmas tree as a kid. As a kid, mind you. All right, so that's the memories of where I got the figures. Obviously, there are other figures unaccounted for. I don't remember where I got, you know, I don't know, like I said, George Steele, Jake, Hercules. I believe this was part of the Wrestling Ring or just random stops along the way. I can't remember the random stops. These are the highlights that I remember specifically. Hope you enjoyed some of the stories. Now, from here, we're going to get into play. We're going to get into storylines, good guy, bad guy, title changes, the LJN WWF magazine that I created, all of that stuff coming up on LJN Memories Part 4. Hope you enjoyed. See y'all next time. Good night now.